Do ba 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 do boo do a boo ba do ba do boo boo ba do a do ba do ba do a do ba do ba do.
I was live streaming a water change and one of my goldfish tried to unalive himself. Panda right here. He swims, he's looking around, he's investigating. Oh, what's this right here? Oh, scoop.
No. You see that?
That right there is why
Panda tried
either
to
you
get
don't
sucked
walk
up.
away during water change
Saved his
or you
life.
get a mesh to cover your siphon.
Yeah. Okay. That's what.
Okay, we're going to be moving all the goldfish to the outdoor setup today. We're going to start with Panda here. I know my hands look really dirty, but I did wash them. It's all about a gentle, calm hand when picking up a goldfish and moving them around. You don't want to stress them out too much. You definitely don't want to squeeze them. Cantaloupe's up next. There we go, buddy. Maybe we'll get Blubbles. No, he's running away. Okay, let's do Buffalo. He's a feisty little guy. If they're freaking out, I just gently hold them till they calm down a little bit before I move them. Okay, he's ready now. Oh, now Blubbles is here. Here we go. Come on. Okay, got him. We're gonna take him outside. And as per usual, we're gonna drip acclimate them because the water in these tanks is pretty different. That's done, and now they're ready to go in. I'm moving everyone outside because I'm having a little barbecue in the backyard and I want people to be able to see all the goldfish. Come here, little cantaloupe. So orange and cute. Buffalo's gonna be feisty again. Lots of energy, that little guy. And then we got Panda. They're all really happy out here. They all gather around this outlet. I think they like the current from it.
Try to run, try to hide, break on through to the other side, break on through to the other side, break on through to the other side, yeah.
Alright, that didn't take long. The boy fish are being mean to the girl fish, so we gotta move them back inside. You can see here they hurt Breadstick's tail. Thankfully, Mrs. Tomato looks okay. I know that bucket looks dirty, but it's clean. And Sesame looks okay too, so we're gonna move them inside. That's better. Safe from the boys. I did it. I bought all of this for $250. 6 40-gallon tanks, a steel rack, and 3 boxes of miscellaneous amazing stuff. The guy also had really cute dog and cat. I didn't even look in the boxes. I just bought it. I'll be posting videos going through, seeing what goodies are in there. Alright, let's go through the lights first. I'm curious how many will work. First one up, it works. Second one works. Third one. Oh, it does work. Fourth one works. Fifth one works. Sixth one works. That one's nice. They basically all need new bulbs, but they all work. It's pretty amazing. Okay, let's see what we got here. Bunch of filters right on top. That's cool. Ooh, a water changer. I needed one of those. Some couple power heads. A little vacuum. Missing pieces though. Filter. Ooh. There are a lot of goodies here to go through. It'll take me some time to put together these filters. See if I have all the parts for them. There's the lights from the last video. Now this box looks good. That's a lot of heaters. I have not even gone through this. 8 heaters, but that'll take me a long time to test if they all work, one at a time. Part 3 tomorrow. Okay, we are continuing to go through this box. We're gonna look at the bubblers in here next. First cute little one, it works. Second one works. It's so loud though, oh my goodness. This one works too. This beauty works and is amazing. It has 4 outlets and is adjustable. Definitely gonna be using it. Another cute little one that works. Okay, so all in all, the first mystery box had 6 bubblers, 6 lights, and 8 heaters. Let's open up the second one. I didn't even open this before I just bought it. Right on top, we got some under gravel filters. I've actually never set one of those up before, but it'd be interesting to do. Quite a few of them, actually. Whoa, look at all those goodies. We're gonna be going through all of this. I am really excited to go through this stuff. I think there's gonna be some good things in here. We got a cute little siphon. We got some thermometers. We got these huge bubble bars. Those are more under gravel filter pieces. I think those are tank dividers. A bunch more little pieces in here. I have no idea what they do. If you spot something and know what it does, shout it out. More under gravel filter stuff. These are a bunch of airline tubing splitters, so that's pretty cool. And a bunch of airline tubing. Does anyone know what this is? It's a little adapter to like a little light. I sorted all the airline tubing, that looks good. That box is my garbage. I think next up, I'll be ready to start seeing if I can put together all those filters. Gotta see if we have all the pieces to get some of them working. Okay, now we're at the exciting part. It's time to see if these filters work. I didn't know if these were missing pieces. I've never even put together a hang-on back filter before, so I printed out a manual for one, and then realized it's pretty easy and was able to put together the rest. This first big boy one works great. It's a little loud, so I don't know what to do about that. But that's pretty cool. I'll add a little bit of white vinegar to all of them to make sure they're clean. Don't want to transfer any gunk. The next one, put together, cute little guy, works. This one looks a little worse for wear, but it does work. This one works too. This one tried to kill me. It sparked huge when I plugged it in. Of course, I wasn't recording. This is a second one of the huge filter. I had to remake that piece right there because it was missing for this one, but I was able to make it with extra parts, so that was cool. I threw all the extra sponges that came with all this stuff in, just so they got a good vinegar rinse. I had no idea so many of these filters would work. Yes, he's a very shiny boy. Okay, so these filters look really dirty, so I'm going to clean them with some white vinegar and a redacted cleaning product. Not making that mistake twice. So it's mostly calcium stained on these black filters. Apparently white vinegar and maybe lemon juice work to get it off. I also used a magic eraser, but in the end they didn't look that much better. Plus 2 of them, I couldn't detach the pump from the filter itself, so I couldn't soak them to really get the calcium off. So let me know in the comments, what is your home remedy for getting the stuck-on calcium gunk off these filters? I'm hoping somebody knows the secret to success. So I spotted this black dot on Cantaloupe's gill, which is not good. There are some parasites that can attach to the gills and make the fish sick. It's sitting in a spot where I think I can get it with tweezers, so I'm going to try to pull it out very gently. Cantaloupe sat so still for this, he was a very good boy. Got it! And as we get a closer look here, it looks kind of green, and I think it's a piece of string algae. I don't have a microscope, but I'm pretty sure we're okay. I'll keep a close eye and see if it comes back. Okay, the next step in these tanks is cleaning up this rack for them. It's got a lot of scuffs and scratches and rust spots, so I'm going to sand it up and paint it a little bit. I already had this black spray paint just sitting around. I want those plywood shelves to match too, but I can't decide between painting them or staining them a dark color. Let me know in the comments what you think I should use. Always wear your respirator when you're painting something. I do it even if I'm outside. I do not want the lung cancers. I'm pretty happy with how much better this looks. I think once the shells are painted on, it'll look insane.
A story just came out from USA Today. EPA finds no safe level for 2 toxic forever chemicals found in many U.S. water systems. These, quote, forever chemicals are linked to different types of cancer, low birth weights, and other ailments.
you keep fish, you know that every once in a while one will die and you'll never figure out why. It's not always something you did.
Do ba 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 do boo do a boo ba do boo boo ba do.
I've had this snail with my goldfish for about a year. He's the biggest one in the tank, and I just realized he doesn't have a name. So comment down below what you think his name should be. This is quickly becoming a goldfish keeping and good deals on OfferUp and Garage Sales channel. This was $30 for this whole setup at a garage sale, plus a couple boxes of good aquarium stuff. This creepy cat was staring at me. I got it home, so many good plants. Let's fill it up just to be able to assess everything. I'll show you in a second, but there ends up being a male betta, 3 Cory catfish, and some cute snails in here. All of this, plus a couple boxes of stuff, was just too good to pass up. I'm gonna keep all the plants for myself and resell the rest. After cleaning it up, of course. The fish were a little unhappy with the travel, but the day after this, they're all doing amazing, so I'll post an update soon. Okay, part 2. I did not get all the duckweed out, obviously, but I made a good effort. Looking back, I should have taken the fish out and put them in a bucket, because this was probably a little stressful for them, you know, me tearing up their home. But don't worry, you know, it's a few days later, all the fish are doing great. And man, there are a lot of good plants in here. It was looking a little rough, but we're gonna do a water change. And as you can see, as I vacuum the gravel here, it hasn't been done in a long time, I'm sure. That's so dark. Look at that. Disgusting. Okay, let's fill it with fresh water. I love watching the little snails on the time lapse, they're so funny. I'll actually end up keeping one of the snails for myself. And turns out a friend wants this whole setup and the fish. So we got the sale secured and we know it's going to a good home. Once this clip ends, the last clip is from just 2 days later. It looks super clear. Wait for it. Boom. Way better. Okay, part 3, last part. I'm gonna sort all the goodies that came with this tank and stand. It was all $30 together. Came with these boxes and bags and tubs. Admittedly, a lot of it was garbage, but for $30, really anything is a good deal. I mean, I wanted that tub and basket, so. And it came with a couple test kits, although those expire, don't they? I gotta see if I can find a date on them. So here's a shot of all the stuff that ended up being in it. Here's what I'm keeping, and I'm just gonna give the rest away. All right, let's stain this plywood for my aquarium shelf. I know this plywood is gonna soak up a lot, so I decided to use some pre-stain that I already had, just to make sure I had enough stain to cover all the wood. So here I am applying the pre-stain. My plan is to only stain what's necessary, so because there'll be aquariums on these pieces of wood, I really only need to stain the sides and maybe around the edges a bit. Although I do end up staining more than that because I thought I would be short on stain, but I ended up having plenty. So I went ahead and used as much as I could. Here I am starting to apply the stain. A lot of people said to use a dark stain like walnut, and I do like that, but I found this cherry color at a garage sale for $1, and I don't mind it. I think it'll look good. Don't worry, I didn't get any stain on my precious toms. I'll end up leaving these outside for as long as I can to cure, because it will be stinky.
Do ba 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 do.
It's been really sunny the last couple days, and I remembered I have a cool sail, so I decided to put it up to give my tank some shade in the hottest part of the day. Hopefully this makes enough difference. I almost had to take the fish inside. Here, have some frustrating calcium blade ASMR. There's so much calcium on these tanks, so I'm going to use some white vinegar and lemon juice in this spray. It helps break it down, but man, I scrubbed these tanks so much, so long, with so much vinegar and lemon juice, and they look a little better. Not totally better, but it's better than before. Okay, we're fixing up some little things on these tanks. First, I got these plugs for these little overflows because I'm not going to be using them for a while. Looks like the previous owner drilled holes in the rims for some airline, but in doing so he broke the rim a little bit, so I'm going to use this epoxy. This will definitely shore it up. According to the internet, these black frames really aren't that structural unless it's like a really big tank, but I'd rather be safe than sorry, and connecting it with this epoxy should definitely be good enough. Here I am doing the second tank, a little bit closer view. There's one more little thing to fix with this glue. Google said as long as it's a small crack like this, I could use silicone, but instead I found this super heavy duty glue that's supposed to work well on glass, so I think this should be okay. It looks concerning, but I'm not worried. Okay, this is a big moment. We're finally putting the tanks on the rack. I definitely should have had a second person help me with this. They were pretty heavy, but I got into it and I did it anyways. It took me about 40 minutes just to put these on. I'll put the 40-gallon I already have in the middle left spot. Of course, I forgot to put these cushions under the legs before I put the tanks on, so that was a pain, but I did do it. Next up, I don't want it flat against the wall because I need to fit my hang-on back filters. As you can see here, it needs to sit out from the wall a little bit. That's easy enough. I can cut up some spare 2x6 I have. I know, I use Ryobi, but I like it. Find the stud right there, and we screw it onto the wall, all secure now. Okay, part 2. We're gonna put the fishies in a bucket first so that we can move the tank. So first up, let's grab Breadstick. She's nice and calm today. Perfectly happy being picked up and moved. I think we'll try for Sesame next. Come here. Also pretty calm today. Not bad. Gently set her in there. She's good. Mrs. Tomato's kind of a wild card. She can get a little feisty when I try to grab her. She's pretty consistent like that. She's got the big zoomies. And she always manages to splash a bunch of water on me and on the floor. So let's see if she does that today. And she does. She freaks out. Throw some water. I needed a hand with this tank because the wet sand really adds a lot of weight. Thankfully, my brother helped me carry it over. Now I just set everything back up. Got my filters, got my light, got my little heater, and we can fill it up. I always use my little thermometer to make sure the water I'm filling it up with is the same temperature as the water that they're currently in. And look at that, I set the rack far enough forward for my hang-on back filter to fit. And as soon as it's full, we can plop those fishies back in, and they're happy as can be. Alright, this is a really hard question. I'm going to try to keep it really brief. For those that don't know, dropsy is when a fish balloons up and their scales stick out because they're sick. It's really gross. You can Google a picture if you want to. The problem is, dropsy is a symptom, not a disease. So if you want to cure it, you have to actually figure out what's making them sick, which means it's probably one of a bunch of infections or parasites. Most times when a fish has gotten sick enough to pine cone or exhibit dropsy, it's too late to save them. Some have, but it's not common. Personally, I'd quarantine the fish and dose the tank with salt, and if it's a really special fish, I'd probably try some antibiotics, but that's about it. Okay, I know what's going in this tank. Remember those plants I got at a garage sale? I neglected them a little bit, but we're gonna take care of them now. I've decided I'm gonna use that tank to grow plants. Several types of plants, but most importantly duckweed because the goldfish love to eat that. And then I thought to myself, wouldn't it be cool if I grew plants and also put shrimp in here? So I think I'm gonna do it. I think I'm gonna have freshwater shrimp, and they should do really well and breed and multiply. And then I will use them to feed my goldfish. So between the duckweed and the shrimp, this will basically be a goldfish food tank. Okay, next step on the plant and shrimp tank. There's a reason I'm using my loud, annoying hang-on back filter. It's because it's a completely cycled filter. So as I set up each one of these tanks, I can hook it on and it can seed in the good algae and bacteria to the sponge filter that I'll add to each tank. So I'll basically have a near instant cycle on each tank by moving this hang-on back around. But yeah, I'm not gonna use it long term. Sponge filters are so much better just because I can use an air pump and split it into a bunch of lines for all the tanks. Here it is the next day, looking more clear. How to make the perfect bowl for your goldfish. Don't. I really thought this would shatter more. If you want your goldfish to have a happy, healthy life, it needs a minimum of 20 gallons. Plus another 10 gallons for every additional goldfish. I think Mrs. Tomato has figured out if she stuffs her mouth with moss, I'll come over and feed her. Smart little bugger. Okay, I'm back from the store. It's time to put some stuff in this tank. First up, I got a bunch of duckweed, some cool orange shrimp. We're gonna float them in the water to acclimate to temperature, and some red cherry shrimp. They will likely breed and make brown shrimp, but that's not a big deal because I'll be feeding them to my goldfish anyways. My fish will love the duckweed too, and all the shrimp are happy after getting acclimated, exploring around their little tank, climbing the terracotta pot mountain, finding tasty stuff to munch on. Let's see if my goldfish like raspberries. As long as a fruit or vegetable is soft, they can usually eat it. Let's see what Mrs. Tomato does. Oh, she doesn't like it. Sesame also hates it, doesn't want it. She goes for a second try, blech, still bad. At least someone got to enjoy it. Just bought a glass aquarium, drank a little of the water after filling it with about 10 gallons for the goldfish. You drank aquarium water? Yes, before the fish were dropped in. I know it was stupid. On purpose? I didn't think there was a warning label, and I wanted to see what it would taste like before I put fish in it. Obviously, I've never had goldfish before. Always remember, people, taste the water for your goldfish before you put them in. It's the right thing to do. More of Sesame, you got it. This is her. She's a female black tie ranchu. It's a very recognizable, specific type of ranchu. If you Google black tie ranchu, they'll all basically look like her. I named her Sesame because when I first got her, she looked like a tiny little black sesame seed. Here's a couple clips of her for when she was really small. There with Breadstick. Breadstick looks a lot different too. She looks more angry the older she gets. If you're wondering how I know she's a girl, it's because I saw a bunch of eggs come out of her one time. So pretty conclusive.
So, Grizzy, how's your day?
I will put a gun to my head right now if you ask me that again.
I'll take 10. What do I do for the plants in my goldfish tanks? Well, people that have a hard time with plants are not gonna like this. I don't do much. I really just leave them alone for the most part. I keep things consistent, I do my weekly water change. And a couple hours after my weekly water change, I dose it with some fertilizer, and it all grows pretty well. As far as keeping goldfish with the plants, they like to eat the plants. But if I keep them well fed, they don't eat them as much. They just snack on them every once in a while. You might have to feed some goldfish more than others to get them to leave the plants alone, but this has been my experience. This has worked for me. It might be different for you. Try it out, see what works. Okay, enough people have asked. It's easier to just make a video. Where did I get this amazing rack for all my tanks? I gotta break the news to you. I don't think anywhere really sells this rack. I can't find any brand or anything on it. I think it's homemade. It is strong square tube steel, welded at every joint. It does not bow whatsoever. There are no visible cracks, and the previous owner used it like this for years. For some reason, a lot of people think this rack is not strong enough. After all, filled, this would be 2,000 pounds of water. But I can't really see any reason to think that. It's thick steel tubing, there's no bows or cracks, and it's been used like this for years. I think it'll be okay. The house, on the other hand, I'm a little worried about. The floor joists are perpendicular to the tank, and this is an outside wall, so it's resting on the concrete stem wall. But just for my own peace of mind, I'm probably gonna go in the crawl space and put a little pony wall. I probably won't post it though, I don't want framing TikTok after me.
This castle is in unacceptable condition! Unacceptable!
I want this. It's called carpet algae. Here's another view of that same tank. Here's another one that's different but also kind of similar. Basically, you let a lot of algae grow on the bottom of the tank, and it looks like a cool grass field if you do it right. The goldfish eat it, keeps the water clean, it's amazing, it looks cool. I can't claim to know how to do it because I haven't done it yet, but I'm gonna do it now. And this guy's channel, Lay from Goldfish Corner, extremely underrated. He's got tons of good information, including a video on how to grow green carpet algae. He even made a flow chart, which is super cool. So those are the basics up there. I'm gonna take a crack at it. I'm gonna be trying it with this here tank in the middle. I think I'm gonna go for unfiltered, lots of aeration. My next few videos will be setting this up.
Listen. The beautiful sound of my depression going away.
I have an extra tank sitting around. I was gonna sell it, but then one of WestCoastGoldies' new videos reminded me what I wanted to do with it, and it just barely fits. So I gotta do a little prep work first, gotta cut the top off of it. I'm pretty happy with how the cut turned out, considering I didn't mark it or anything, I just freehanded it. Looks pretty clean. Next thing we need is some cinder blocks. I'm gonna rinse those off first. Then we put them in the water so the acrylic tank has something to rest on. Man, it's such a tight fit, it's just perfect. I used some lung power to get the water started, and then brought out the shop vac. Man, the shop vac worked great, watch this. Boom, took like 5 seconds. Fishery Bezos immediately loves it, so does Cantaloupe. I know the water's really green right now, it's just super sunny every day, so the algae's growing. And I have an extra light laying around. Boom. That's good stuff. First things first, I need to put in some check valves on these tanks. Basically, it's a little thing you put on the air line so that if the power goes out, the water doesn't go back down the air tube and destroy everything. And we can start filling up these bad boys. I tried a lot of different combinations with my air pumps. I have all those air pumps that came with these tanks, so I tried out several different ones. Mix and match. I thought that the 4 outlet one would be stronger, but it's really not great. So for now, I settled on two outlet air pumps to these 4 tanks, just, you know, 1 tube to each tank. I got a bubble bar in this bad boy, and I'm gonna set up the tank below this one too, just to have it start cycling, you know, better sooner than later. It'll sit empty for a while I figure out what to do with it. I think I want the top right tank to be like a quarantine tank. I think this bottom right one I want to breed a pair of goldfish in, possibly. And then the top left one, just extra space. But stay tuned for the middle right one to become a carpet algae tank. I'm sorry for the terrible flashing. I didn't realize my new fluorescent light would do that. But we're gonna give this carpet algae tank a jump start. I'm bringing in the sponge filter from my pond outside. It has all the good algae seeds and bacteria. It'll just be a good first foot forward to getting the algae in this tank started. Lots of bubbles, lots of algae, lots of light, and this should go well. Watch this. So fun and icky. I now deem this the mud tank for now. This is it the next day. I'll keep checking in on it every day, see how it goes. You know on Craigslist how you can sign up for search alerts? Like I have it so that if anybody mentions goldfish in their post, it sends me an email. It's a great feature, except for one thing. This person has been posting their beanie babies multiple times a week for 9 months. Once, twice, sometimes 3 times a week this person posts these beanie babies. They're a set of 12. They write in their ad that they will not separate them and they are firm on their price. In the time since, they've taken a nicer picture and they've lowered the price by a whopping $1. They will still not separate any of them. It's 12 beanie babies, right? So for $1, I was like considering getting the goldfish one, but how is this worth reposting so much? I know that there's programs that will repost Craigslist ads automatically for you, but even then, how is it worth it for getting rid of these 12 beanie babies for $12? Seriously, 2 or 3 times a week I get the email in my inbox about this. I just don't get it. How to feed frozen bloodworms to your goldfish. Now this is just the way I like to do it. There's not really a wrong way to do it. The very aggressive eaters, this is tomato, will slurp up the whole cube and choke on it for a bit while it slowly melts. So this is how I do it so nobody chokes and everybody gets some. Take your fish designated cup and get some aquarium water in it, then you drop in the frozen bloodworm cube. And I usually wait 15-20 minutes once the cube's melted, and then I dump it in the tank. And man, do they like it. Delicious. Update on the carpet algae. We have some algae growing. All those little globs are green algae that's starting, so that's good. But we want to know better what's going on here, so we're going to test the water parameters a little bit, see what's happening, and we have an interesting result. There's nothing. No ammonia, no nitrates, and no nitrites. That's not necessarily a bad thing. It just means that the tank processed the waste that I put in. So we're gonna add new waste. I'm gonna do some fertilizer. I'm gonna do a bit of fish food, maybe more than a bit of fish food. And we're gonna take the filter from the outside tank and squeeze it in there again, because this has the green water that you need to start the carpet algae. So we'll give that puppy a couple squeezes. And now this tank should have plenty of nutrients to process and keep this going. I'll do another update in a week. We'll see what it looks like then. Is the green water bad for my goldfish? And I'm not picking a fight with you. A lot of people ask about this, so I wanted to explain. I'm gonna way oversimplify this to keep it short. In an established tank, there's usually only one thing that builds up that's bad for the fish, and that's nitrates. The algae eats the nitrates. Just tested it. You wanna know how many nitrates are in the water? 0. The algae is continuously eating the waste and the stuff that makes the goldfish sick. So if anything, I'd say it's very good for them. There's another thing, and that's the goldfish and the algae both need oxygen in the water, especially when the water gets warmer like it is right now. So that's why I have lots of bubbles and waterfalls to keep the water well oxygenated so the goldfish and the algae don't have to compete as much for the oxygen. So overall, yes, crystal clear water does look better, but this green water is not bad for the goldfish and it's not dirty. A lot of breeders in Asia actually prefer this green water for keeping them. Keeps the nitrates low, so less water changes. Okay, so this is Blubbles. He's an Aranda, fancy goldfish. Some might say, oh, that's a red cap, but for him to be a true red cap, he wouldn't have any red on him besides on the head. So not a red cap, just an Aranda, but a very cute, good fish. I've had him over a year now, and it's one of my most friendly fish. The white splotches on the head is where Tofu ate some of the wen growth off, so he's an assault survivor. They're doing pretty good. For those that don't know, there's a heat wave going through the Pacific Northwest. It's been in the 90s basically the whole week. As far as the temperature, I keep track with this little thermometer right here. As long as it's below 90 degrees, the goldfish are usually okay. I start to get worried in the high 80s. Definitely if it hits 90, I'm starting to take some drastic action to cool the water down, because they'll start dying between 90 and 95 usually. But for now, they're having a great time. The warm water speeds up their metabolism a little bit, so they get more hungry, so they can eat more, and they like that. And I've got some shade set up here to block it from the sun for most of the day. But if it starts to get really hot and I can't keep the temperature under control, I can just take them all inside to my indoor tanks on that rack. So either way, we're good. So it's basically in a cycle. It heats up during the day, and then at nighttime, the temperature drops back down. And I'll add all the ice from my refrigerator every evening just to facilitate that a little. So I just got a package in the mail. And I know who it's from, but I don't know what it is. It's from Eric Twig here on TikTok. He makes cool pond videos and landscaping stuff. I tried to be careful with the packing peanuts at first, but I'm just too excited. I gotta see what this is. A nice note and a UV clarifier for my outdoor pond. This thing is awesome. It looks brand new. And my pond is only about 320 gallons. This thing is rated for 5,284 gallons. So this should be really clear in no time. I'm excited to see. Okay, we're ready to move our next goldfish to the outdoor setup. So I gotta put a little water from the tank in this bucket. And we're gonna move Bagel today, this cute little Ryukin. He's a good little guy. I always try to let him calm down in my hand for a second before I pick him up and put him in a bucket. Goldfish are pretty hardy, but they don't react well to fast changes in temperature, pH, and general water hardness. So we're gonna acclimate him here with this tiny little airline tube. You see it dripping there. So he'll get introduced to the new water in this tank very, very slowly. So I let that happen for a while and he's ready to go in. Little Bagel was one of the first goldfish I got. Still going strong. I gotta scrub the algae in here, but he's doing great.